Hi, this is Meg. Welcome to Change Becomes You, the show that teaches you how to harness the power of your unconscious mind, the supercomputer that's 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind, to create the healing, the abundance, and the meaningful relationships you desire. Understanding this changed my life and took me from contract work as an organizer to building a multi-six-figure business all on my own. You have everything you'll ever need already inside you. You just need to understand the operating manual. Let's get started. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Change Becomes You, the podcast. We've been diving into a really big conversation in my leadership training that launched earlier this month. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I felt that it was really worth expanding on one section and bringing it into my podcast audience. And I want to ask you this question, because I asked this question in the group, along with a lot of other work that we're diving into. But I want to bring this one question over to here, to this platform. And I want to ask you, how do you feel you behave in most areas of your life? Do you feel like you're being authentic? Do you feel like you're being inauthentic and masking? Do you change depending on the environment you're in? Do you feel like you're mostly managing yourself, or are you leading yourself? So what's the difference, right? You might ask, well, what's the difference between managing myself and leading myself? Leadership, leading yourself, is when you might not know all the facts. You might not know all the whys, all the hows, all the whos, but you trust yourself and you trust your decision-making faculties and process. And you trust your ability to deal with whatever comes next. There isn't a giant amount of fear because I need to know all the details. I need to control it so that I feel safe, right? That's managing. So I trust myself and my decision-making faculties, and I know I'm able to deal with whatever comes next. Knowing that some things are going to turn out better than you could have imagined, and others, well, those ones are not the most fun, right? But they are really high up on the learning parameter, the learning scale. And if I learn, I can reflect, I can adjust, I can tweak, I can contemplate, I can expand from that learning, so I'm okay. It's going to mean something. It's going to be beneficial. So I'm not going to be frozen in pain from an experience. I'm going to learn from the experience. So I can hold that. I can experience that, take something from it, and utilize that towards who I'm becoming. So now I can lead without knowing all the details. And that's a big ask. That's a scary ask. It means we have to have a lot of confidence, a lot of courage, a lot of faith. Managing is different. Managing is sometimes a lot of performance, and it's usually very unconscious performance because the patterns have been there for a very long time. But the best way to know if that's what you're doing is to ask yourself, are you different when you're out in the world than the way you are at home? Are you the person who's kind to the grocery store clerk, but at home complaining about the world, or depressed? Angry at your partner, angry at your boss, upset at the world? If so, likely, then you're just managing. We've been taught to manage. That's our coping mechanism. We've been taught this. This is what we know to be our truth. And with that comes a lot of managing. So you're managing an image that isn't even authentically you most of the time. We're not managing our personal wounds. We're performing to feel like we don't really have any. And so much of this is unconscious until it isn't anymore. And let me explain that. When we're young, we're conditioned. Our subconscious mind is taking in all of the information, all of the modeling from those who are our guardians, our guides, our mentors, our teachers, whether they've done their own healing work or not. So we're taught acceptable ways to behave. And for little girls, there's a lot of be a good girl, do what I say, do as you're told. And for little boys, there's a lot of not only do as you're told, but stop crying. Boys don't cry, don't be a baby. So we learn to monitor and manage and mask. We learn, okay, this is how I must behave in order to receive something, in order to be accepted, in order to fit in order to be loved, in order not to be in trouble, in order to be safe, in order to be approved of, in order to make someone else proud of me or happy. It's in exchange for something. So it's all transactional and conditional, and I don't have the words or the resources or the adult brain to understand any of that yet. So I just model what's been modeled to me and call it the truth. So now, decades later, we're adults in the world, and we've perfected this. Men have dissociated from their feelings and guard their insecurities like personal failures, and women overgive and overdo and mother everyone around them and are called controlling for it because they learned they had to do something to receive something. And this goes on and on and on for years until things start to crash. Someone in the partnership goes through a personal growth experience, and all of a sudden, she doesn't want to be the manager anymore of anyone. He doesn't want to keep doing the things and not feeling appreciated for them, and starts to feel taken for granted. And all of a sudden, it all starts to crash to the surface for healing. But we're not aware that we've been in these patterns unconsciously for decades. So we call them our truth. And I'm not going to take that anymore. I'm going to tell you all the ways I'm not going to take that anymore. And what's actually happening is your subconscious mind knows you've grown. You have the resources, the tools, the right mentor and guide, and dissatisfaction comes in. And if you've ever felt dissatisfied, you know what I'm talking about. You know that you can't shake it. You can't run from it. You can't shop enough or numb enough. You have to sit silently with it, asking it when and where it was born. Like, what happened? When did you show up? What are you here for? I wasn't always happy, but I managed. But now I don't even feel like I'm managing. The soul knows the plan. And the patterns in the beginning that teach you how to become an adult and function and become independent and autonomous were working for you. But they stop working now for the plan. It's time for a plot twist. It's time for a pivot. It's time for an adjustment. So your subconscious mind leads you to every single person that will trigger all of your buttons. Every interaction that will make you want to tell your truth. Why? So it can be looked at. But we aren't taught that this is all good, and blaming others isn't the resolution. That just keeps us in a looping pattern like we're playing ping pong back and forth. Leading yourself is the resolution. Learning tools and gathering resources to navigate the unconscious brings you to a whole new identity that you build. And the very people that trigger you are gifts. They're matches, albeit that's in hindsight, right? But you start to see that it's more about the trigger than it is about the action. My feelings are my own. I've got to deal with those feelings, and then I've got to start to learn a different way to lead myself, to not just do the things I've always done, not just be expected to do the things and not rock the boat, right? So these triggers come up, and it can be very confusing because there may be one party that just wants to put it all back in the normal category, and the other party that says, well, that doesn't exist for me anymore. It gets complicated. The very triggers show you that you're ready to heal the beliefs that you took on when you were a child that don't serve the person you're becoming and the things you're here to do. If there's one takeaway from today, that was it. If you integrate that into your being, you will unlock something really important and powerful within you. In service to the life you want to live, right? You're ready to heal the beliefs that you took on as a child, that don't serve the person you're becoming and the things you're here to do. The life you want to live, the connections you want to feel, the contributions you want to make. You can only get there by learning to lead yourself, not managing yourself. If you are constantly managing yourself, really what you're doing is managing your image. So you start to pay attention to your inner guidance instead. Your internal, yes, even when it's scary, even when it doesn't make sense, even when you should do this and you shouldn't do that. We do a lot of that, particularly as women. We do a lot of shoulds. Well, I should just do this and I shouldn't do that. Men do this too, as far as being a provider. I should do this and I shouldn't feel that. So you stop managing yourself and everyone else around you, and you start learning to lead. And if we could really understand that you were born a fully equipped human who has everything already wired and coded in. Your job isn't to go out and get more. It's to investigate what's inside and start to unlock it and open it up. Start to reconnect the pieces that have always been there to guide you. But we didn't get that operating manual, did we? If we did that, we'd start to spend a lot more time internally versus externally. And all the wounds, all the hurts and the pain, all the times you felt not enough, they were not to break you, not to convince you that you're not equal. They were often patterns passed down from adults that hadn't done their own healing. They didn't have the bandwidth. They didn't have the capability. They didn't have the patience. And they can't give you what they hadn't found yet for themselves. And when dissatisfaction arrives, you can choose to manage it by blame, anger, depression, frustration, all while putting on your game face when you're in the outer world. Or you can recognize that it's here for you to look at it and begin to lead yourself out of others' patterns impressed upon you and start building your own patterns that build the identity you truly want to become. We have to look at, is this really mine? Where did I learn this? When was this born? And the second part is, and what did I make it mean about me? That's why they stick. The patterns become our truth because we assign a meaning to it, and the meaning is so personal, and then it becomes the dirty secret we want to hide. So then we just have this whole other person that shows up in the world because that's what makes us feel better. But inside, we're not really doing anything about the dirty secret or the shame we're carrying around. And it isn't the truth. It's a truth that you created based on experiences you had. So now, in service to who you're becoming and the life you're meant to be living, the unconscious brings you the very people, places, and things that you need. It's why you're here now listening or watching. If you truly look, you will find hundreds, maybe even thousands of times where you did something just because you felt it. You didn't use any logic. You didn't do it because you had to do it. You just felt it. I feel like that right now. I don't feel like watching this. I feel like going and doing that. I don't feel like eating this. I feel like eating that. I don't feel like signing up for that, even though I should. I feel like this. This is making more sense to me. I want this instead. And it comes from this quiet place inside, like a hum. And it's the conscious part of you. Conscious as in ethereal consciousness. And you are part of it, and it is part of you. I call that the divine intelligence within you, right? Your subconscious mind runs your body, runs your nervous system. When you're sleeping, your lungs continue to breathe. Your heart continues to beat. There is an intelligence that is ethereal within you. And that part is always flowing through you. It knows where you're meant to go. It knows what you signed up for in this life. It knows why those parents and those siblings and these partners and these experiences and these pain points were all learning points and necessary for your evolution. They were not meant for you to ascribe a meaning that was personal, meaning that you weren't good enough or you failed, and then you were to build a home on that island and live there isolated forever. That was not what they were for. Right? It knows where you are meant to go. It knows what you signed up for. It knows. But it won't come out and clobber you over the head. You've got to tune into it. So every trigger that shows up is letting you know internally where I've got to go. And those yeses that I'm feeling that show up are indicators of where you are meant to go. There's something there for you. There's a peace. There's something. Those, I have no idea why that book just grabbed my attention. I just really liked that photo. I just had this random conversation and it led to a thought. They're not random. The mechanism inside you works perfectly. It's just currently working to bring your attention to the wounds that need healing and the desires that need clarification. It's always working for you, bringing you your energetic match. But we've ascribed the negative meaning to it. If we could erase that, we would say, all I'm doing is perfecting my relationship between me and me and bigger me. And if you don't like it, it's not because you're a failure. It's because you're not currently working on something that it represents and it's showing it to you. If you truly understood how perfectly you are made, and you could put the human patterns and conditioning down just for a second and lead yourself by your connection to yourself and the divine intelligence within you that runs you, you would be having a very different experience in your life. And I thought that was absolutely a conversation worth having. Here in the US, it's the Thanksgiving holiday, so if you celebrate, I wish you a beautiful time to reflect on all that you have to be grateful for. And I am deeply grateful for you and for these mind-altering conversations, thought-provoking discussions. I believe that the world changes as a result of our inner changes first. It can only and never come that way. First and always, you lead yourself, and everything around you calibrates to your new alignment and shows itself to you. You always have a reflection point if we can learn to see it that way versus reacting to everything. Reflection point. Where do I need to adjust? What's coming up for healing? Why was that the perfect thing to have happen, even though it feels terrible? It's not always easy to see. It requires work. It requires tools. If you find that you need assistance figuring this out for yourself, just reach out. Reach out through the website, megadamsonhypnotherapy.com, on the Contact Meg form, and I'll respond to you. And for those of you who do not have a holiday this week, because I know my audience is international, find the things that in your life to be grateful for. Anyway, we don't need excuses to be grateful. There is never a limit to what gratitude can do for us. And I wish you a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you again next month. Bye for now.